Hi there. Good morning, everyone, here on TikTok Live. Welcome to this Sunday morning, 2 days before the 4th of July. And we are just simply preparing some breakfast here this morning. Nothing too elaborate. We're going to be putting together a frittata in a cast iron pan. He said frittata. But yes, a frittata, for those who don't know, is just a very simple dish of potatoes, onions, and a few other things mixed in. And then after all that, you pour in some egg as a binder and then bake it in the oven. A frittata is really my way of saying I can't flip an omelet. Although, yeah, I can flip an omelet, just I'm not at a professional level of that. So frittata is nice and simple. And before I put anything in the pan, I need to show that part off, of course, because what we have here is a vintage cast iron pan from the 1930s or so. It was made by Birmingham Stove Range, and it is a size 7 Red Mountain series pan, and I like to call this pan Lightning. First of all, because it does a lightning fast job of cooking food, but also you can see it has these marks here, these casting flaws, which are not cracks on the bottom of the pan, that make it look like lightning. And so hence, meet lightning. And no, sorry. There we go. Okay. And now with that, let's get things started. Just a wee bit of corn oil. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I like corn oil because it's got a high smoke point. Smoking already, which is good. That means time for the potatoes. These are white potatoes. Got them partly because they were on sale, but also because, much as I love russet potatoes, if you try frying russet potatoes, they tend to just come apart and become mush. So these will still have something of a solid consistency to them. Anyway, my plan is to first cook the potatoes and soften them, because potatoes are hard. Then I get to throw in the other ingredients. I never peel my potatoes unless it's some kind of recipe that specifically calls for peeled potatoes. I love them with the skins on, and there's nothing wrong at all with that. So it's really just a matter of getting these things to, as I said, cook until they are soft. Starch from the potatoes here on the bottom. Oh well. That this number 7 size cast iron skillet. This particular one seems like it is maybe just a wee bit smaller than a typical number 8 size pan. So we're talking like about maybe 9.5 to 10 inches in diameter on the top. This is more than enough, as you can see. I only cut up 2 potatoes. One large potato and one medium-sized potato. I always use coconut oil. Do you think that is a higher burn point? I'd have to look it up. I don't remember what the smoke point of coconut oil is. But, well, coconut oil, I know it has all these health benefits, or so they say, but it's also expensive, I'm afraid. That's why, another reason why I like corn oil. But actually, hello, Regina, and thank you very much for dropping by. Yeah, I'm doing this really to, besides in order to make breakfast, I'm doing this to waste some time on a Sunday morning, and also to avoid, and also to avoid all of the political crap that is going on TikTok Live. You know how in the last few months, TikTok Live has been invaded by, let's just call them the most interesting folks. Pretty much political wingnuts, conspiracy idiots, and especially religious trolls. No, I'm not talking about typical people going to church. I'm talking about religious trolls. Ones who are really here just to piss off people. And so I prefer cooking, largely to avoid most of the politics. What I should really have done is pop a lid on this. I do not have a lid that quite fits this pan, but we'll have to improvise. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Here is a lid from the same manufacturer. As I said, it's unfortunately a little big. This is a number 8 size lid, which is considerably bigger than the size 7 pan, but it still works well enough. The manufacturer was Birmingham Stove Range of Birmingham, Alabama. This is also from their Red Mountain series, which they made anywhere between the 1930s to the 1960s. And because I'm a cast iron nerd, I know from little details on the pan that I would likely estimate the lid to have been made somewhere maybe from the 1940s to the 1960s, whereas the pan itself is probably a couple of decades older, 1930s or so. And add some olive oil. Yeah, I could do that. Or throw in a little bit more of the corn oil, so the oil doesn't mix. So let's, good, this isn't hot yet. Actually, I'll take your suggestion and let's mix in some olive oil. Because why not? There we go. Why did I not want to mix the oil? Well, I don't know, maybe it's a consistency thing. After all, different oils are different. Or maybe it's a taste thing. On the other hand, there's nothing wrong with the taste of olive oil. And all I'm really doing, as I said, is waiting until these potatoes are soft. I guess that's one disadvantage of using white potatoes. They are, because they don't come apart, they are something of a harder potato. So I still have a couple of minutes yet. Season those taters. All right. I was going to do that in a few minutes, but salt, pepper. Great, I'm taking instructions from the internet. What could possibly go wrong? And I have minced garlic. I will throw that in afterwards with the other spices. But yeah, that's true that the salt especially does help to soften the potatoes. Starting to get a little bit of color, so that's not bad. Spread this out a little bit, especially from the edges. And we'll pop the lid on one more time. Yeah, I guess it would be nice if I were to actually find a size 7 lid to go with this. But that's how the antique hunt goes. Funny, the lid is not centered. Oh, neither is the pan. Okay, I better move this over. When did that happen? Yeah, that's much better. There we go. Slow and low, careful. Yes, exactly. Open it up. Doesn't look right. More seasoning, please. Yeah, like I said, taking instructions from the internet. Well, you want it opened up again. Put the lid over here. Why not? I am not a professional chef, and any advice I will gladly accept, as long as it's constructive. And again, these are white potatoes anyway. As I mentioned, I got them because, well, number one, they're not russets, which tend to fall apart and turn into mush when you fry them. Also because they were on sale. Still, yeah, these things are definitely coated. But why not? Just a little bit more salt. And pepper. And once again, the other spices will come in once these potatoes are softened. About a quarter cup of water. Oh, I see. So that you can steam it. Well, we could do that. We don't need a quarter cup of water, I don't think, but a dash probably won't hurt. There we go. Now we leave it be for a little bit. No water, steam right. Temperature doesn't look good. Well, I am on a gas stove and I had the flame set at just about half. So especially with the steam, this should do well enough. Because again, I'm not trying to fully cook the potatoes yet. I am trying to soften them so that I can then add in my spices and include things, like the usual, like the onion and the garlic. Also throwing in some tomatoes and some spinach. Speaking of which, let me dig out the minced garlic. Alright. Yeah, hey. Let's argue over food, shall we? Here we go. Minced garlic in a jar. The thing that the chefs, especially like Anthony Bourdain, say that you should never use that garlic that's sold in the supermarket, pre-peeled and just floating and swimming in oil. You should always use fresh garlic. Well, it's a Sunday morning, and I actually didn't feel like pounding some garlic. I've done enough slicing, and I have the minced garlic, and personally I'd say there's nothing wrong with using it. Well, yeah, actually, this is sounding pretty good. Nonetheless, thank you very much for the comments. And I should say as well, since this is TikTok, I do not want gifts. I am not asking for gifts or donations. You do not have to donate. I am here just to have some fun. I am not asking for gifts. Oops, nuts. Just remove. Ooh, now it's getting hot, of course. I was just removing the handle cover. All right. I can run to the store to get some extra ingredients. Well, this is a nice and simple frittata. And it's also going to have no meat in it. No bacon this time. Or hamburger or anything like that, though you could certainly throw it in if you want. Just because felt like making a veggie frittata this morning. Still, there we go. Also glad to always get some use out of my cast iron, and that's good. Fried chicken in a cast iron skillet. Damn right, yes. Yeah, I am a cast iron nerd. I will fully admit that. I am one of those cast iron foodies, the kind who scream on the internet about how you're supposed to use cast iron, you know. Although I tend to break the rules regularly, you know, it's like, yes, you can use soap when you wash your cast iron. Or, yes, you can use metal utensils. I'm not using a metal utensil right now, only because, you know, folks don't like to hear the scraping sound when a metal spatula hits the cast iron pan. Please open, it's burning. All right, let's do that. And stir it around a little bit, and we're probably at around that point as well. However, it did not burn. But thank you for the suggestion of the water. That certainly helped. So actually, we're doing pretty good here. I do believe these potatoes are, well, they're starting to soften up. I mean, they're still hard to the point where, you know, as you can see, they're not coming apart, and yet I can split them with the spatula. So we're actually at a pretty good point. In that case, let's start adding stuff, such as onions. A little bit of sticking, that's really more from the starch on the potatoes than anything else. But there is definitely no burning. And as long as I keep an eye on it, there should not be any burning. You know how to cook your food? Well, I do my best. That's really about all I can say. I am a Gen Xer, which means that for about 4/5 of my life, I would have told you I could not cook to save my life. You know, unfortunately, I'm a typical modern day American. Cooking for me largely used to be keeping a stack of Walmart burritos and pot pies and microwave pizzas in the freezer. Until I was bitten by the cooking bug in December of 2010. And I know that date because I logged it on Facebook. Since then, there's been no looking back. I very much have enjoyed, well, pretty much spending the last 13 years learning how to cook. I'll probably be doing that for the rest of my life. And enjoying myself fully. Now, all of this is starting to shrink. That's good. Especially the onions. And that's why I call this pan lightning. Which means next up, let's throw in some of this evil minced garlic. Yeah, that's the other thing, as you know. Don't you love the foodie arguments? Things like never use prepackaged ingredients. Always do everything from scratch. You know, how dare you make boxed hamburger helper? Or Kraft mac and cheese? Or use minced garlic in the jar from the supermarket. I do it because it's there, it's convenient. Yes, the homemade stuff does taste better. I have made homemade mac and cheese many times. Kraft dinner still tastes good. All right. Now that we're in there, let's add a little bit of color. There should be some tomatoes. realized I forgot to break the eggs. The eggs are still sitting there whole. Well, we'll work it out. And next, when it comes to color, now we can add one of my favorite ingredients, smoked paprika. Not too much, just that's probably enough, might even be more than enough. Adds color and flavor. I thank and I curse Alton Brown for introducing me to smoked paprika. For those who don't know, smoked paprika is the secret ingredient they use in typical barbecue chips. You know, they obviously, when you get barbecue potato chips, obviously they don't actually barbecue them. What they do is flavor it with smoked paprika. And that is the flavoring that you get. That's why, oh man, do I love smoked paprika. I can add it to just about anything. Alright. Now, next thing to mix in, a little bit of fresh spinach. Yes, spinach. Yeah. I was a weird kid as I grew up. I always liked spinach. I don't know why. It's supposed to be kids are supposed to hate spinach. You know, you always saw that on cartoons and other kid shows. It pretty much spinach is supposed to be yuck to kids. I never had that problem. I always loved spinach. Except for canned spinach. Let me refresh that. That's probably why they consider it to be yuck. But yeah, no, I mean, if I cook with spinach, which I love doing, gotta have fresh spinach. Maybe frozen, but never the canned stuff. What the canned stuff does is it just turns everything green. Everything. This would look like a plate of vomit if I had mixed in canned spinach. And as you can see, it does not take long for the spinach to become nice and wilted, which means we're almost done here. Move into this. Throw in some parsley. Yet again, oh no, I'm using dried parsley. How dare I keep doing that? How dare I not use fresh parsley? Because it's convenient, that's why. Also cheaper. I'm starting to get a crust on the bottom here. I gotta be careful it doesn't burn. There we go. We are just about at the right point now for the last step, which means I'm going to break those eggs. There we go. I get to break eggs live on cam, so you can see how terrible I am at it. For starters, I have not come anywhere close to mastering the one-hand egg crack technique. But I did learn early on, you should always break your eggs on the counter or the tabletop, even though it makes a mess. The reason why is if you crack your eggs on the side of the bowl, that actually forces a tiny piece of shell into it. And so you have a greater possibility of getting shell in your egg, which no one likes. Alright, now finally, here, let's see if I can do this right. Oh yeah, that's right, I'll do it after the eggs. Means, oh yeah, now I can move this back. There you go. And another trick, of course, is to loosen the eggs by throwing in just a little dash of water. Just a little bit. It's like you turn on the faucet, put a few drops in, and then turn it off. And there we go. Turn the stove top off. Finally, one more thing. A couple of tomato slices. Well, half slices. Just a tiny bit more salt. Not much. And into the oven it goes for about 10 minutes. Oh no, please don't do that. Well, my hope is that these tomatoes will be roasted when it goes into the oven. Or when it comes out of the oven, I should say. But I guess we will find out. Cast iron, oh yeah. No, I love cast iron. I mean, if you check out my channel here on TikTok, or my channel on YouTube for that matter, I call it Cast Iron Chaos for a reason. I am definitely part of the cult of cast iron. I mentioned that a few minutes ago. You know, the foodies who argue over all kinds of things about cast iron, whether or not to use soap, what kind of oil to season it with, whether or not to grind a piece of cast iron down, and I say you do not have to do that. You're acting, you don't know how to cook. Oh, what are you saying? You're acting, you don't know how to cook? Nah. I'm completely self-taught. I am an amateur. I am not a professional chef. As I said, I have about 13 years of experience now. So I have not been cooking my whole life, but I've been having a lot of fun. That's about the best thing I could say. So thank you for the nice words. Yeah, we learn together. Yes, exactly. That's the whole point. One mantra I've learned in cooking, in fact, that I've found is a very useful piece of advice, and that is this. In cooking, there are a few disasters and many learning experiences. However, we can still eat the learning experiences. So yes, I've definitely eaten my fair share of learning experiences. And in general, it's tasted pretty good too. But at this point, well, I suppose I could try to waste time for the next several minutes or so, because this thing only has to be in the oven like maybe about 10 minutes or so. I don't get it, but I understood. I appreciate that. Well, okay, yeah, thank you. But yeah, as well, thank you as well for the folks who have shown up here on a Sunday morning. That's always very pleasant. And again, I'm hoping this is something of a respite from all of the arguments that have been taking place on TikTok live 24/7. You know the ones, the so-called debate channels that really are not about debating in most instances. They're really about trolling and just getting people pissed off. So I've done that a couple of times, but not regularly, because, yeah, we all have our opinions. But nonetheless, as such, I'm hoping just simply looking at a cast iron lid is more pleasing than looking at yet another channel where some idiot is promoting his Trump merch. Or the ones that either say evolution is wrong, prove me wrong, and garbage like that. But never mind, I won't even get into that. Instead, I'll say one more time, this is a vintage cast iron lid made by Birmingham Stove Range of Birmingham, Alabama. I estimated it was probably made maybe from the 1940s to the 1960s. It was part of their so-called Red Mountain series, which came before their Century Cookware series. I love Birmingham Stove Range, not just because it is terrific in the kitchen, but also because that particular company is one of those, I guess you could say the internet made it famous. Birmingham Stove Range went out of business in 1993. So, just before the internet went mainstream. And because they never put their brand name on their pans, their pans became forgotten over the next couple of decades. It's like there were a lot of these pans out there. Nobody knew what they were. And at that time, if you went on eBay, you would find a lot of so-called unknown cast iron pans or just made in the USA cast iron pans, but nobody knew who they were. And then over the last decade or so, this cast iron renaissance has come into place. Because what I mean is that cast iron has made a huge comeback over the last decade or so. And I frankly give a lot of the credit for that to celebrity chefs, because cooking in general has been changed by reality TV and celebrity chefs, in that we've got all of these celebrity chefs now who are all, the macho, manly, bo type of cooks, Gordon Ramsay and the like, or all of the cooking the so-called reality shows like Top Chef and Hell's Kitchen and all the rest of that. All of which have been extremely successful. Well, not all, but quite a few have been very successful. And figure this, all of those celebrity chefs, what do they all say? They all say how great it is to cook in cast iron. And a lot of them are promoting their own cast iron lines. And that really has affected a lot of people. And so cooking, well, you know how it is. It's like for most people, cooking was considered, I'm sorry to say this, cooking was considered women's work. Or more likely, cooking was considered to be a chore that nobody wanted to do. That's probably a better way to put it. But home cooking has really made a big comeback, especially during the pandemic over the last couple of years. And so combine that with, as I mentioned, this interest in cast iron. So we've got this huge resurgence. Cast iron is probably more popular now than it's been in decades, which comes back to Birmingham Stove Range. As I mentioned, that company went out of business in 1993, and their pans and their company was essentially forgotten because, again, what did they make? They made frying pans. And who the hell cares about frying pans? So, as I said, and they made an enormous number of those skillets and Dutch ovens and all that, cast iron cookware. They were in business from the 1905 all the way to 1993. They were one of the biggest manufacturers of cookware in the country. So even now, if you look in your kitchen, there is a good chance in your kitchen right now, you could very well have a pan from Birmingham Stove Range. But because it doesn't have the manufacturer's name on it, you might not even know that. And then the internet came along and this resurgence in cast iron. And so geeks like me started researching the history of all these pans. And we've learned a lot about Birmingham Stove Range. And that company in particular has really, again, become probably more popular now than it's ever been, even though it's been out of business for up 3 decades. And that's briefly the story of this cast iron lid and that pan that's in the oven right now. In fact, let me check the oven light. Let's see how we're doing. Probably not doing too badly. I actually have the oven set at 450 degrees. So I'm just hoping that, yeah, so far it looks like that pan, well, yeah, no, I was worried about it burning. I don't think that's happening. So I'd say this is not going to be too badly. Just another couple minutes probably, and we'll be able to bring this out of the oven. Is there something cooking in the oven? Yes, the frittata, in fact. Oh, something cooking in the Dutch oven? Maybe later, but not now. All I did was I made a frittata in a cast iron skillet. I do realize people come and go here on YouTube Live, on TikTok Live, and so a lot of folks probably were not here for the actual cooking. So let me turn the oven light back on, and let's get a preview of that, shall we? And do this right. Sorry about this, but I'm trying to get a view here that will actually... Oh, that's not bad. Oh, shut up. Anyway, as I said, it's a frittata that will probably be done in about a minute or so. Because that was the whole point. I wanted to make breakfast and waste time. And because I'm a cast iron nerd, I started talking about cast iron as we waited for the frittata to be finished. And I guess I'll end the way it started. Namely, frittata is another way of saying I can't flip an omelet. Even though I can flip an omelet, just not at a professional level. So it's much easier to simply make a frittata, which is basically to do a stir fry. Then you mix in some eggs to make it a binder and bake the whole thing in the oven. Yeah, I'm hungry. Well, thank you. And so am I. Well, it is Sunday morning. Feel free to have some breakfast. I just found my people. Well, yeah, there is a cast iron TikTok. And when you find it, you may very well find yourself sucked down the rabbit hole. As you see, my own TikTok channel is called Cast Iron Chaos because, yes, that is my hobby/obsession. And you too, Tom. Hope you have an amazing day. There should be more cheese. Well, my guest asked me not to use cheese. And I like it without cheese too. I like it with cheese, but in this case, we're not having it with cheese. All right. So that's why it's kind of a plain, bare bones frittata. Nonetheless, we're probably all set at this point. So I think I will... That's still hot. I think I will take it out of the oven and test it. And if it's done, well, then this video is done too. I would have to say this is done. The eggs are all puffed up. And yeah, there we go. I do believe breakfast is ready. So, thank you everybody for stopping by. Where, as I said, we made a frittata in a vintage cast iron skillet. It's very easy. You might, if this inspires somebody to try it themselves, well, good. I hope you enjoy it. Even if not, well, no, what I mean is that even if you don't do a frittata today, well, just have yourself a good breakfast and enjoy yourself. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for watching, and yeah, have yourself a good day, everybody. Thank you.